بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. نحن نقص عليك نبأهم بالحق. إنهم فتية آمنوا بربهم وزدناهم هدى.
The teleological argument must be the design argument, right? I've heard something about a watch and a watchmaker.
Yes, the teleological argument from telos, meaning purpose or goal. This argument observes the intricate design and order in the universe as evidence of an intelligent designer. Here's a simple way to think of it. Imagine walking on a beach and finding a smartphone in the sand. Would you ever think, even for a second, that waves randomly washed pieces of metal and plastic together to form this working phone? Of course not. As one illustration puts it, nobody would believe a lightning strike in some sand accidentally created a functioning smartphone with apps installed. We immediately recognize that a phone, with all its complexity and purpose, had an intelligent creator and designer.
Right? A phone or a watch is too organized and complex to have just appeared by chance. Someone must have made it.
Exactly. The universe and life are far more complex and organized than any phone. Our solar system, for instance, follows precise laws. Our DNA is like a coded language within each cell. The design argument states that this order and purpose indicate an intelligent designer, just as a complex watch implies a watchmaker. One classic explanation goes, if you found a pocket watch on the ground, you wouldn't assume it simply happened by random natural forces over time. You'd conclude it had a maker. Similarly, the complex universe and living organisms appear to have been intentionally designed.
But some may argue that nature can generate complexity independently. What about evolution or the Big Bang? Don't those provide natural explanations?
Scientists have limited tools and capabilities to explore the origin and function of nature and the universe, from atoms to galaxies. They study phenomena such as the evolution of living creatures and the Big Bang, but often cannot reach definitive conclusions due to these limitations. However, the design argument goes further. It questions why the laws of nature are arranged so precisely from the outset. For the sake of argument, let us assume that some form of evolution is valid. Even then, creatures do not possess self-consistency through a chain of random selection based on design. There must be a designer who programmed the order and consistency into the process of evolution.
So you are saying that random evolution, which results in a stable and consistent design, and randomly maintaining that consistency, is logically absurd.
Precisely, must operate within a highly ordered system, such as embedding the design into DNA's information code to ensure consistency across generations. Many scientists have highlighted that certain complex features of life appear irreducibly complex, meaning all parts needed to function must be present from the outset.
Can you give me an example, please?
Certainly. For example, a creature's digestive system requires many components working together: a mouth, stomach, intestines, and more. Having only some of these parts wouldn't help the creature survive. It's difficult to imagine such a system developing randomly, step by pure chance, because the intermediate stages wouldn't be functional. This indicates deliberate design in how life is formed.
I've heard the term fine-tuning too, like the idea that the universe has very precise settings that allow life.
Yes, fine-tuning is a modern extension of the design argument. It notes that fundamental constants, like gravity's strength or the charge of an electron, seem dialed in to just the correct values so that stars, planets, and life can exist. The universe might have been lifeless chaos if any of those basic numbers differed slightly. This is like finding the universe's user manual set to the perfect settings, which hints that someone intentionally set it up.
That makes sense. It's like Allah designed the blueprint and established the laws of biology, chemistry, physics, and mathematics to govern nature. The more we learn about these laws, the more we recognize the intelligence of the brilliant designer behind the order and design.
That's the core of the teleological argument. Order and purpose don't appear out of nowhere. In our experience, complex functional objects require intelligence to create them. Chance alone is unlikely to produce something like the human eye or even a single living cell, just as randomly throwing Lego bricks in the air won't assemble a perfect model castle. In fact, if you toss a bucket of Legos, you'll end up with a jumble. You could throw them 1,000,000 times, and they won't accidentally form a fully built palace.
I remember my madrasa teacher once brought 2 dice, kept them on the table, and told everyone to roll them and see who would get double sixes multiple times. One of them rolled and got a double six, so the teacher told him to roll again to get another double six. This student rolled his dice about 10 times, but never got a double six after the first roll. So our teacher told us that randomness is a non-intelligent process that produces a series of chances and can never generate a consistent pattern.
But what if an intellectual designer makes a rigged dice that consistently produces specific results to deceive others, as seen in many Hollywood films? If your classmate had such a rigged dice, he would always roll a double six in every attempt. So, if nature is left to itself without the programming of a designer, it tends towards disorder. Think of your room if you never tidy it. When we see things arranged in an orderly, meaningful way, it indicates a designer. As one source concludes, life and the universe are filled with purpose and ultimately beyond the natural laws of the universe to exist by chance alone. The only reasonable explanation is that there is a designer behind this design.
Looking ahead, Sayyidina, but before you leave, I have a question. Is there any conflict between Shia Islamic ideology and the logical idea of a creator as an intelligent designer?
Absolutely not, Sajjad. On the contrary, hundreds of verses in the Quran support the logical idea of an intelligent designer. These verses suggest that God created everything with purpose, including the creation of things in pairs, which is impossible to design by itself. Someone must have designed the atoms, molecules, and genetic codes in pairs. It is impossible to believe they are self-designed. Science has recently shown that the smallest entities exist in pairs, such as the ionic charges of electrons and protons.
Can I have those verses to share them with my class fellows who are atheists?
Sure, take for example the 10 verses of Surah An-Naba 78 verse 6 to 16, which give us a few examples of how Allah designed His creation so that it can supply humans with everything they need, including the fact that He made us in pairs. The verses are interpreted as follows. Did we not make the earth a suitable place to live? And the mountains as pegs that hold the earth firm? And we created you in pairs of male and female? And we made your sleep to restore your energy? And made the darkness of night a covering to encourage resting? And made the brightness of day a cause to earn a livelihood? And made the 7 mighty heavens above you? And made the sun a radiant lamp? And sent down water pouring from the rain clouds, that we may bring forth with it grains and plants, and luxuriant gardens surrounded by the trees?
I heard a verse that teaches the people from the time of revelation that there are creations in pairs of which they were unaware. Could you please shed some light on that verse, Sayyidina?
In Surah Al-Dhariyat, Allah clearly states that He has created pairs from everything, so that people may be mindful of the one and unique Creator, who is the only one not in pairs. Similarly, in Surah Yasin 36:36, Allah clarified, over 1,400 years before the discovery of science, that there are creations in pairs of which people are unaware. The verse is interpreted as follows. Immaculate is He who has created every kind of pair of whatever the earth produces, including animals, humans themselves, and what they do not know.
Wow, that's wonderful, subhanallah. Now, before we leave, to gain blessings from the words of our imams, may I hear a hadith related to the concept of intelligent design?
In our previous session, we reflected on Imam Ali, peace be upon him, first sermon in Nahj al-Balagha. Suppose we continue analyzing the following statements of the same sermon. In that case, we will see that Imam Ali, peace be upon him, emphasizes Allah's precise intention and design when creating us. And it was no coincidence that our body and soul are perfectly matched for our mission in life. He states, He assigned all things to their proper times, signifies that nothing in the universe happens randomly, too early or too late. Whether it's the blooming of a flower or the birth of a star, Allah has determined the right moment for every event in creation. Time itself is part of His wisdom, and harmonized between their diverse kinds. From tiny insects to enormous galaxies, everything is different, yet everything fits together. Despite their contrasts, all creations are balanced and interconnected in a way that serves a greater purpose. That balance is not accidental, it's designed. He implanted their innate dispositions and bound them to their physical forms. All creatures have embedded and inherent variations in their genetic codes and qualities, yet they display standard features without any disparities. For example, every chicken appears alike in every aspect, yet each has personal differences.
Imam Ali, peace be upon him, points to the deliberate order and precision in creation as evidence of an intelligent creator. So the next time we see something beautiful, complex, or even painful, we must remember it's not random. It's part of a divine design filled with wisdom.
وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين وسلم تسليما كثيرا وحسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل